or a different CDPR game. So we have Sif on the bottom, we have Sanvanter on the top, and Sif opts to take Northern Realms Kecker. Sanvanter opts to take movement Scoia'tael control from Red Coin, which it makes a lot of sense. A lot of control in this list. Probably assumed NR was the first one out the gate. A really nice mulligan there from Sif to find the Royal Decree. And finds the Kecker as well. Oh, I thought, my bad. My vision is bad, and I thought that was, instead of Gem, I thought that was J-Will. I was like, I thought J-Will knows about what's going on with Gwent. Yeah, honestly, Gem, it is a great time to get into Gwent, get back into Gwent rather, because with the balance council and stuff, that's also an incentive, I think, to get to pro rank, is to play enough games, and or to play enough games to win enough games to qualify, is because you get to have a say in how the game is played. So it's pretty good. We start to see the trade-off that's going to happen in this matchup between control from Sanvanter and Sif trying to get engines to stick. So we'll see how this goes. Brehen and Shiru in hand for Sanvanter, but otherwise not a ton of additional control. And with no heat wave in this list, Sif knows he can kind of just keep going. Both players are gonna, at this point, looks like are gonna do a little bit of their own strat here. There won't be that much board interaction here presently. We see the front row here from Sif on the on what is now a 6 in the Reavers Scout, opting not to boost the other 6s that are in the deck, but already some healthy carryover generated here from Sif. Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't had a single issue finding matches fairly quickly, which is something that I thought I might be concerned about, but looking at the data, it looks like people are still playing plenty of Gwent, so. So, Gem, there's a, J-Will is right, there's a client, there's an in-game client, they've added a tab at the very far right of where you have, like, play, deck builder and so on, all the way to the right, and if you qualify, then it opens up for you. You have to hit the qualification minimums, but then you get to vote, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, back in game, points wise, it looks like Sanvanter is competing, but Sif is just building an inordinate amount of carryover with an inordinate amount of engines. And Sanvanter says enough is enough. Sif got a lot of carryover. These Centurion Royal Guards. We love a good emote fight. That's cute. Sif assumedly wanted to. So Sif wanted Sanvanter to play more, but Sif didn't do good math, and is not actually ahead here. So Sif opts to. So we get our first bit of fun here. I could have let Sif borrow my trusty abacus and do some math, but I don't know if it was just assuming that Sanvanter would keep playing or just jamming the cards. But Sif, because of the bleeding, Sif was not ahead. So we'll now see the players will skip round 2, go to round 3. Pretty garbage draws for for Sanvanter though, and Sif is gonna be just fine between Vernon, Mata, and Royal Decree. So I think even down a card, I think that Sif has the advantage here, if I'm honest. I'm hoping for balance patch to chess. Yeah, Gem, and feel free to there's also a bunch of people that are still streaming and everything as well. If you're interested in those things after this game. Also, if you'd like to see what's kind of more in the meta, that's what the players are playing in this week's Gwent World Cup. That's the whole list of decks. So a bunch of really good deck ideas in there, but I'm also happy to talk through some other stuff that we've seen that's kind of fun to play if you're interested in that after the games. Speaking of which, so Sif playing around Brehen goes ahead and jams the Kecker here. Finds an Archer, which is a really good unit because of the continued damage. Holds on to these well,
thank you very much.
Reaver
Can I be
scouts.
in charge for a while? Sir, yes, sir.
Sacre bleu. Welcome to the stream, friend. Yeah, Sanvanter is really sad there because that's really unfortunate. Super lucky to find this much layered control. I don't know. I can't fathom it's worth it now to jam the Shiru, but maybe it is, because otherwise these are both worth, they're both worth 8 each plus whatever the removal, so it's a 16-point Shiru, so it's not terrible. You know, when I was a kid, there was a point when I was like 8 years old where I would just run around. I'd heard it on TV, and I just ran around the house yelling, "Sacre!" I just obnoxiously yelled that at my parents for like a month. So we see the back row Willow. I think Sanvanter probably, in hindsight, would have liked to have used a leader charge to move that to the front row, because the odds that lives are, unless Sif wants to use a Reaver Scout here, and it looks like he does. I think if Sanvanter could go back and do that again, I think you absolutely would move Willow to the front row there. So, I mean, Sanvanter never found Scenario, Simless, obviously Pavko, Big Bird. So I think that Sif got lucky here, that Sif had such a good hand. After stumbling into a round 1 draw and being down a card. But I'd said this at the beginning of this round, that I still thought that Sif had the distinct advantage because it's just way too much juice. Gwent was always very niche, and the top Gwent streamers bring a lot of people at once. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, well, it depends, because, like, people like Nikar, Shinmiri, Gabane, Danny, Moshcraft, of course, like, they're still pulling very good viewer numbers. So none of that has particularly changed. So the one tutor available, we see the Simless for the double backup plan, but this is still not going to be nearly enough points. There's, with the Flotsam on board and the double Reaver Scout, Sif hasn't even played the Cintran Royal Guard, and he's going to get to play at least 3 of them. And didn't find any. Jeez, Sanvanter just getting absolutely wrecked here. Didn't find in a pile where elves, bronze elves in Scoia'tael have so many low damage cards. Didn't find 2 more damage for this. So -6. Don't love that. Although, no, I mean it's over, right? I don't want to be crazy here. So you play the Dryad Ranger now. I mean, there's also just not any harmony here, right? You play the Dryad Ranger now. You kill this reinforced ballista, and then you use a leader charge to move to the front row, whatever is going to be the biggest unit in the back, to be able to Brehen it. You could also now, actually, you can move it. You can move whatever this Royal Decree is, which will be a big Royal Guard. So Sif technically has +3 points, +1.5. So yeah, it's not going to be close. Well, I don't want to say it's not, like, yeah. It's not going to be 31 points close. I forgot that this Witcher was going to proc all that harmony. So I stumbled into the right answer, but I didn't get there the right way, which is that this was a lot closer than I thought it would be. But Sif also found everything for the most part. Shame Saskia is getting cut. Provision nerf needs to be reverted. Maybe. I still think it's a great card. It just depends. And there's you know, there's still a lot of ways that it lives. It's just because of what's being played in the meta now, it's tough. And you'd rather just play, I think you'd rather play the points than roll the dice on the thinning. Anyone have a good harmony example? Do you want one of these harmony lists, Dave? I can ping you the, here's, for example, here's the one that we just... Here's the one that we just saw. Meanwhile, back in the game. So Sif, of course, takes a red coin Nilfgaard control deck. Sanvanter takes, understandably, a blue coin. Harmony deck. So we'll get to see the same harmony deck run back, but from blue coin. Letho and Bird are... Letho, Bird, and Heatwave all in hand for Sif is great. Sif has a dead Ramon at the moment, but a super gold heavy hand. But finding the Heatwave in hand and having the Letho to be... I mean, having the Letho, the Bird, and the Heatwave in hand is probably as good of a starting hand as you could have asked for if you're Sif. Sif does lack the bombs to be able to keep competing here for very long. We do see little oak critters. Love these little guys. We are going to see the dancing star here. We are not going to see the dancing star. We're just going to see the click. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I think Pavko is absolutely correct. Dave making a comeback. Love to see it. Makes me look so pale. Is this okay? Yeah. I'd rather be here. We'd love to see an 8-point Purify. Love to see it. stuff's a vibe, huh? I don't think I'm ready for that much of a vibe. So now we do see the bomb. Sanvanter is not ahead here, starting to run out of things to want to play. Sif can just kind of keep going. So we'll see what Sanvanter opts to do. Sanvanter may get a look at Shiru at 9s on Nausicaa Sergeants. It's a possibility. Shiru also goes to 6 organically when paired with Scenario. 6 is not 7 and 7. 3, 7, 9 is really the kind of the sweet spot for this list, though. Illusionist into a Chameleon or is probably good because the Antherian is not great because you're only playing really humans. So we do see the Illusionist played here just to get ahead. Sanvanter doesn't lose on even, which is good, but Sanvanter is in a bad spot here with the Heat Wave. The Heat Wave here is not great, and how good Sif Sand is. Not great. You did lose the round, though, so the Dana could be an interesting play here. Lead out with the Dana, see what happens. Could also, if this ends up being a dry pass situation, you could also get 2 turns with the Dana. You could also hold the Dana and force Sif to control the Dana in round 3. We see Mushy Truffle played now at 7 cards for the carryover value. Perhaps on a Neophyte. An Antherian because it's 2 points, sure. So we do see the Dana. The Dana played not a leader here. Essentially, this is asking Sif, do you actually want to bleed me here? Because there's no combination of anything in hand that kills this, so you're going to need to leader it. So we do see a D-bomb for leader here. It's overkill, but it also gets out your 8 points of carryover and thins your deck. So I think you're happy to do this if you're Sif. This is way too high energy. We need to turn it down a little bit. Simless here is good. Sanvanter finally finds the damage. So with both of the Madocs going to the back row, and with the Sapper dead, this is starting to become a thing of what do you play, like what are you willing to play, because then it feels like maybe you're reverse bleeding, and you know that there's hand buff. So the hand buff plus the full leader means it's going to be really hard for you to keep a card here if you're Sif. And the shorter round 3 goes, I don't actually think is necessarily great for Sif. Yeah, you heat wave the scenario, but then the opponent just keeps jamming a lot of points, and you only have 1 tall punish. Shiro at 9 is good. Exactly, Shiro at 9 is good. It means with this boost on the Shiru, though, I don't think you get Shiro at 9. With leader, it goes to either 7 or 10. With scenario, it'll come down as a 7. So this the one hand buff onto the Shiru kind of takes the Shiru out of play for the to kill the Nausicaa's at 9, right? Oh, a Papo. Sanvanter opts to take the last mulligan. Kicks the poison kicks the Forest Whisperer poison, hopefully looking for obviously one of these gold cards, but particularly also a chameleon, because chameleons are worth so many points. Wait, what? Wait. What? What the? What? Is the idea to move the Pavko then back row? So then, because you want to be there, so you row stack? Interesting. Maytol, am I wrong here? I thought that Dora So Based is Sif Greatwolf. I thought they are the same person. Is that not correct? Is that am I incorrect? I mean, that's what this is what I have in my list of.
Well, thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while? Sir, yes, sir.
Kazing, welcome to the war room. It's good to have you, friend. So Dora and Sif Greatwolf are not the same person, and Sif and Holder are also not the same person. Holder was Sif in the past, but now Dora is Sif. No, Sif is from Ukraine, like Sanvanter. Maytol, I know that you know the truth of this, so now Dora is Sif. So the correct naming convention for this other player is then Dora. Is that fair? So I'm just gonna change this to Dora, and then we're all gonna move on. Is that correct? So eventually, that's what I'm thinking. I'm assuming that eventually Sanvanter will become Sif. That feels correct. Already done, Krypton, but thank you for the effort at providing clarity. Meanwhile, back in the game, we saw the interaction that we expected of Yeet Skeeting scenario. 17-point gap opens between Sanvanter and Dora. I suppose we settle on Dora. Sanvanter probably sad to have a shitty 4-point Purify and a Dryad Ranger that won't resolve a poison. Hashtag feels bad man. So it's technically even points right now, because it was even points with the leader plus the bleeding resolve, but this just keeps getting worse and worse for Sanvanter, especially because Sanvanter has a card that'll play for like 7, has a 7 and a 4. 7 and a 4 instead of having a Weeping Willow or a Percival that's harder to answer. And then this gets leadered to get it away from Madoc. Yep. Although what's Shiru doing? Shiru right now is just doing a Ramon at a 7. Next turn, I guess you could Phoenix. Well, you'd have to also then boost your own Dryad Ranger again, right? Okay, so now the Vigo goes to 7 in 2 turns, right? Imagine a Samum actually playing for added value. Yikes. Yeah, Madoc spam sucks too. It is an unfun deck to play against. It doesn't suck. It's a powerful deck, but it sucks that it's powerful.
You fight me, or you watch her die.
Just more bomb value here, plus, yeah, it ends up being a 6-9. You end up playing for 9 points with the Madoc again. With that leader. And just nothing stays alive. Sag. Madoc with Nilfgaard. Madoc with other Madoc with other factions is fun, but... Yeah, Sanvanter doesn't want any more of this, though. Knows that 4 points left in hand with opponent having 2 cards on even points is not going to get the job done. Coin. Against Sanvanter on red coin, and we're now going to see Dora's Squaretel list. So we'll see how that shakes out. Or Northwest Texas. Oh, brisket and sauce. Anyway, so we do see a slight change here. Sanvanter opts to take the Ursine Ritual list from red instead of the AQ list. So the players both know what the strat looks like here, so I think we're going to see some pretty quick play to start. With Dwim in hand, your mum was a gerbil and your pa reeks of sour plums. Is that a reference to your mother's a hamster and your father smells of elderberries? Yeah, I think part of the problem, Snake, I think you're right, is like everything else, like some stuff gets really hyped, right? To the point where it's like something isn't actually like the greatest thing that ever was. But you've been told for so long that it's the greatest thing. You know? No portal, no frost. Nope. No tempest. I think, yeah, that's what you're asking, Liquid. You're right. This is what's in the deck. So instead, it's double Dwim, Draco Turtle, and Heatwave, in addition to Dora Gray in the 6. So Sanvanter really committing here to a two-round strat. Playing the Svalblood Totem and the Care Trolled in round 1, so neither will be available for round 3. That is big card energy. There we go, that's probably better.
Well, thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while? Sir, yes, sir!
Tracer, welcome to the War Room. It's good to have you. Thanks for dropping a follow. I like all the Nick R. I've never seen the plethora of Nick R emotes. I'm a big fan, even if I don't love clowns. So we see a lock on Olgierd Immortal. Makes a ton of sense. But Dora barely keeping ahead here. Sanvanter is going to be able to start clicking the Fanatics. Although the Fanatic at 6 plays into the Milva Frenzy Dow interaction pretty nicely, but again, the less control that Dora has access to, the better off life is for Sanvanter. Wanting to keep things, having the double Peller in hand is also good too. You might be willing to use one now. Exactly.
This world ever free.
To free this world ever free. So we see a big play there, a big point play there from Sanvanter. Squirrel in hand from Dora. It's the thing is if you're Dora, there's so many things that you want to squirrel. The Aneromancy could be maybe the best choice to tap the consistency, but the problem is it's a 4-point tempo play, and you're being threatened to lose on even right now. So we see both locks out, which means no lock for, it's going to have to be Shiru Shiru is gonna have to probably Shiru or Heatwave are gonna have to be the answer for.
Well, thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while? Sir, yes, sir.
Wow! Welcome to the war room. Wow! 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 Welcome! Welcome! Welcome. It's gonna have to be a Heatwave or a Shiru as the answer to Sigvald. You're not gonna be able to lock the Canute. You're gonna have to remove it. Draco Turtle is hard to remove. So we see the Frenzied Dow played here just to go ahead and give something to play that denies value. The Terror Crew Plunderer here plays for 7, plus the click on the Svalbard Fanatic. Wait a minute. What? Didn't... What? I guess it's the same, right? Yeah. The boat keeps you ahead here, which is good. And if you're, I mean, you're happy to, if you're Sanvanter, you're happy to play out the whole rest of this deck, right? Or the whole rest of your hand, rather. So finally, Dora finally accepts losing on even. Ogier Immortal and first form Care Trolled with a Dwim is really the biggest contribution. And I guess the Fanatics from Totem are the big contributions there from the Sanvanter, but if you're Sanvanter, you're pretty happy. Heatwave in hand without having to Anero it is super nice if you're Dora. Milva is not. Second time that Dora's drawn Milva. And the Wombo, and we're going to see, I think we see the push here then. And we do. He's got a good record scratch. What the fuck are you doing saying Typhoon? Oh. Took me a second to get there. I'm with you though. Double Peller, what a madman. I mean, yeah, it's one of the differences, of course, between ladder and tournament play is when you look at tournament wise, like what the players are likely to bring, right? And then you just based on that, you know, you look at it and you're like, yeah, double Peller makes sense. This Pyrotechnic just got a lot worse with this Draco Turtle on the board, and if this Draco Turtle ends up eating a yeet, being yeeted, if the Heatwave ends up getting played on the Draco Turtle, then you're pretty happy if you're Sanvanter, because that means that on outside of a Shiru that your Sigvald lives. So this looking a little dodgy here for Dora. We see an Anero for Shiru here. Which means that if Sanvanter smells that it's a little stinky out, I think the push here probably gets the job done.
My home is wherever the road takes me.
So -2 on the 50-50. We'll see the squirrel here on the Anero. I wouldn't know what to do if it were stinky out. I mean, I barely do. TBH. Generating value on the Sigvald here. I mean, you could conceivably, if you go all in here of your Sanvanter. You play the Cat Witcher Saboteur for 6 on the Maxi. I mean, if you're Sanvanter, you trade whatever this card is. If it's anything, if it's Heatwave or Simless, then you feel happy, right? The downside now is if Sanvanter goes full leader here, he wins. No, he doesn't. Never mind. I forgot that there's 7 points sitting here. Goes offensive. Goes offensive. Goes offensive with the Sigvald. So holds on to an Ursine Ritual leader charge. A heat wave on the Nutter. So Mahakam Pass and 1 leader charge. Plus a Nero. No Nero for Sanvanter, but does find Svalblood. For the 3rd time this game, Dora draws into Milva. Draws into a Bricked Armorer's Workshop. Okay, so no Denny Kramer then. It's going to have to be Simless here. This Spores actually gets play here, which is pretty good. If you jam the Svalblood now, you only get it. It only goes off once. I wonder what the best thing is here to take. Yeah, Draco Turtle makes sense because it's worth positive points. It negates damage and it's worth positive points every time it goes off, right? If you don't play the Dwarven Skirmisher now, then you don't get any points from it. Conceivably, you play it. Don't you play the Dwarven Skirmisher back row? Yeah. Yep, that makes perfect sense. You play it back row because you don't want to give up points on the Draco Turtle. Smart. That's super smart. Dora, definitely, that feels like the right line, and we have complete knowledge, and that feels correct. I don't think, because of all of this armor, I don't think Svalblood beats Simless plus of the leader charge. I think you would have liked to have something other than a 5-point Spores here, right? Yeah, this is too many points and too much armor, right? Is the problem for Sanvanter.
Feign not ignorant. Remember to whom you speak.
Okay, is it 23 points on this side of the board? Let's see it. The blob comes down. And it is not, it is just shy. Just shy. And so that's a 3-0. He, she's, and theys. So that is a 3-0. Dora, not to be confused with any of the other myriad monikers that were provided to the Gwent World Cup Administrative Office. So what you're looking at right now, so this is the overall roadmap of the Community World Masters. There you go. So Gwent World Cup, that's this weekend and actually carries into tomorrow because of some carryover matches. And then March 16th will be Open number 1.